It was so hot, man. It was so hot, dude, and so bright.
We were a good 10 feet away from the fire itself, and we were still burning. And that's why we're thinking, oh man, this thing's fucking big. We got to get out of it.
Is there anything illegal about doing that?
I mean, in AJ, probably not. Come on. Just a tiny bit of pepper spray is ridiculous. And I got a gallon in my eyeballs. Dude, but we had fun back then. We used to set shit on fire right back there. We used to shoot each other with paintball guns. We were jackasses before the Jackass show. We went to the Diamondbacks game, home opener last night. They lost.
Is that surprising? This is Diamondbacks, right?
I think they're winning tonight. But yeah.
Who'd they play?
The Dodgers.
The what?
The Dodgers.
Yeah. Dude, for years I didn't know. And just proof that I'm a dumb kid. That baseball played like 3-game series. Like all the time.
Right, yeah. 3-4 games, yeah.
Dude, like I played baseball.
Sometimes
I was into
two.
baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in like I knew there was like a random doubleheader, and I was like, well, that's kind of cool. Like, the bench players get to play probably.
Right.
But it was, I mean, dude, I probably didn't know that until I was like 19.
Right.
Like Little League, all that stuff. Like Diamondbacks came around. I was a Diamondbacks fan. I like just didn't put two and two together. Oh, they're playing the Dodgers again.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, they have 2 series games every once in a while too. So they'll have just a 2-night game, and then they'll have 3 or 4. I don't think they ever do 5 though. I don't think.
Yeah. So for what is it? Playoffs?
Yeah.
Are they all 7-game, or they do a 5-game round?
I don't know. I'm not a hundo.
I would imagine
on that.
Because the NBA still does 5 for the first round, don't they?
Yeah, then they go to 7, right? Best of 5 and the best of 7.
Yeah. I wonder how long until they change that to a 5-game for the first round, because just purely for money and because they can rig it.
Yeah, exactly. One day the truth will all come out. So would you put 2 shots in that big old thing?
2 shots. Because, dude, I did 3 last time, and it
was too much.
Me up. Yeah. I was messed up. I couldn't do it. I was like, oh. Yeah, luckily I have to, hang around here after a while for a double, but it was rough.
Yeah.
Dude, I was thinking about how, like, the difference of my daughter growing up to how you and I grew up as kids, right? Like,
right.
And I feel like I even saw it with your kids, with your older kids when they were younger, right?
Right.
They don't play outside as much. They don't. Dude, we were always outside. Always outside.
Always.
122 degrees, we're out.
Yeah. I mean, I would say summertime, we'd probably hang inside more than we did during the other seasons, only because it was fucking hot. 120 degrees. We even though we would do it, but it was just, what is that, a shitty vodka or something?
I got gin instead of vodka.
Oopsie. Oh yeah, that's going to be great. Oops.
I'll do it. I was like, this is not, what is this? I thought it got flavored, yeah.
Is it still like, is it bad, or is it just wasn't what you were expecting?
It wasn't what I was expecting. It's it's not like it tastes like milk, when you're thinking it's water,
right,
which will kill you if that happens.
Yeah.
But it was just different. It was like floral, or I was like, what? Was it flavored vodka? That's awesome.
Yeah. Because I remember we used to go to Blockbuster or where'd we go? Did we go to Blockbuster a lot?
I forgot about Blockbuster, dude. I forgot about going there.
And we would rent Nintendo games, and we would just have Nintendo game days inside, during the summer. For sure we did that. Your mom would take us over to the Blockbuster. We'd have the game for 3 days, play it to death, and then turn it in. But that was like a treat. It wasn't even like a once a week thing, I don't think. So those are the days we'd stay in all day and play, whatever game we rented that week.
Dude, that's another thing where I feel like if Lily and I are going to go out and do something, we're going to go paint pottery or something at one of these pottery places or whatever. And I'm sure those places didn't exist, but I didn't want to do that as a kid, obviously. As
right.
A 9-year-old,
yeah. But also that's a girl thing. Like Christy will take my kids out to pottery stuff. You know what I mean?
Sure. And I'll do it with Lily, and it is kind of fun, but it's never on my list of things that I want. Like, there's a trampoline park, let's go there instead.
Right.
But I'll drop freaking $50-$60 doing that. And like, I'm thinking, what did those games cost to rent? $5, $4, $3?
Yeah.
Well,
with inflation there, I think it was $3, I think. I bet you it was $3.
What is it? $10?
Yeah.
$7? What is it?
Exactly.
Like, and that was a thing where it's like, you better do all your chores, do all these things. You know, you don't frown at me, otherwise you're not going to get the game. You know.
and then you're like, hey, you ask my mom so that maybe she'll say yes. You know.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, my mom would always say yes, but it was you know, I felt like my dad was a cheapskate. It was always we'd go to like an arcade and get 50 cents.
You could play two games.
2 games, yeah. And so we'd stand and watch a bunch of people play and be like, well, what do we want to spend our quarter?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you're like, all right, well, no one's playing Miss Pac-Man. Let's try Miss Pac-Man. And I lose right away. I'm like,
right.
God damn it. You know?
But it taught you to like be patient and make sure you're spending your 50 cents on the right game.
Yeah, but dude, I don't want my daughter to go through that. Like, when we go, there's it sucks it actually closed down. It was an arcade, like a mom and pop arcade. They had nothing but old retro stuff.
Right.
Which Lily was super confused on. She's like, what is this? You know what I mean? And like even things like you know, Centipede was retro for us as kids.
Right.
But you know, they had like Street Fighter and stuff, which she doesn't give a crap about it at all. But everything, she was just like, what's the, like, she can't touch the screen, you know?
I have to use this stick and buttons? What the hell is this?
But dude, like your sisters growing up, they didn't do, I guess, half the stuff that we did, right? I know sometimes they would like jump bikes with us. We were like, dude, we would build ramps out in the street.
Yeah. Remember, that's where Yolanda jumped that ramp and she broke her arm.
That
in
was
front of your house.
The only time I ever remember her kind of like playing with us. And
right.
She breaks her arm.
I mean, we didn't wear helmets or anything, but she was like, I want to do it, what the boys are doing. And all of a sudden she freaking breaks her arm. It was
how bad was the break? I don't remember.
I want to say it was, you know, it was here. It was just one of these 2 bones here.
Okay.
I don't think it was like sticking out or anything. As a matter of fact, I think my mom was like, oh no, you're fine. And she went to school the next day, and then the nurse sent her home because she thinks it's broken. And that Yolanda still holds that against my mom. But Tessa does the same thing. You know, Tessa broke her arm at school. We brought her home, and she's like, we're like, oh, you're fine. And then, no, it was broken. All right, well, we'll eat dinner first, and then we'll take you to the doctor just to get x-rays because you're whining so much. And it was broken.
That happened to Rob. I remember the first day of summer camp, he went and he did something, and like he must have fallen, you know, trying to make friends, poor guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think he broke his wrist and stayed all day at summer camp still, and then like it was bothering him, and then like we're eating dinner, and I remember like my dad being mad at him for using his left hand, or something like that. It was just like, what are you doing? Just come on. Like,
why are you eating like that?
Sure enough, it was broken. But,
I don't remember you guys going to summer camp very much. Like, was it like a week or 2 long summer camp or something? Because I remember we got into most our fun during the summertime. I don't remember you being gone.
Dude, it was one summer for like 2 weeks, and I remember just hating it.
Yeah.
And it was like some camp at ASU, and so we were like dropped off, and I don't know anybody, and everybody else knows everybody else. You know, I'm not cool. No one gives a shit about me. You know what I mean? And I'm like trying to be friendly or whatever. But I'm just like, I just don't know anybody. And I just remember thinking it's like this. And that was the first time we had to change in front of, like, we had to bring a change of clothes, I think for like swimming or something.
Right.
And because there was a swim class where they actually, like, I don't know, would test us. And I just, you know, flop around in the pool. You know what I mean? And I'm like trying to do my whatever it's called. And but I remember that was the first time I was like, I don't want to change in front of everybody. Like, you know, I'm like 10 or something. That's what I think I was. So
I don't think I've ever did anything like that. I don't remember going anywhere like during the summertime. I think we just always stayed home.
It's all Lily does right now. Like, like your mom worked obviously. So, and so did your dad.
Right.
But you, Tommy, like when did they start leaving you home alone?
Man, we were left home alone at a very young age. I know I was at least first grade when Tommy was there with us throughout the whole summer, pretty much.
Okay, but Tommy was there.
Yeah, but if I was in first grade, he was in third grade. You know what I mean?
Okay. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way I'd do that today.
No. We had a babysitter. We used to have a summertime babysitters, probably before I met you, where some one of my dad's relatives, cousins or whatever, would pretty much stay at our house during the summer, get there in the morning, stay there, cook us breakfast, and she would make these fucking runny ass eggs, like scrambled eggs, and she would cook them for like 2 seconds. And I'm like, you needed a spoon. I remember we fucking hated it. It was like, ugh, like it was so disgusting. It was so gross. Runny scrambled eggs is what I remember.
Why? Was it like trying to make them like spread across? Like how many eggs did you have? 3 for 3 kids or something? Or what?
I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't cook it all the way. You know, I just do not get why you would make runny eggs. It was disgusting. So she would make us runny eggs, probably make us SpaghettiOs or a sandwich during the day, and then she would watch MTV the entire day. That's what I remember. You know, that's when it would just be nonstop music videos, and that's what she did. And I think that's why she loved it, because my dad had, I think, a pirated box that had all the channels. You know,
dude, your dad always had freaking biggest TV on the block. He still does, probably.
Yeah.
And then always all the channels. Like that was. I just remember going over there and thinking like, that's a TV. I want a TV like that. And it was a 35-inch tube TV, weighed 500 pounds.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Dude, one thing that I remember thinking, or as I'm older, I'm always surprised at how, especially being a parent, like realizing like some of the choices that my parents made versus the choices that I'm making. Weird, like to have an adult make runny eggs.
Right.
It's like my 9-year-old knows how to not make runny eggs.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like, how stupid you gotta be, you know, and it's like, but it's just decisions adults make. And I realize, they're all just like, we're all just big kids. You know what I mean? Like I still feel like a kid sometimes, but it's like, it's weird. I don't understand, you know, like I don't, dude, one of the things I remember we did a bunch as a kid is we went to the what is it? Those warehouses at the end of our block.
Right. With the dumpster diving, right?
Yeah, and those weren't always there, right? Like it's not like we moved in and like, weren't they built at some point?
Yeah, they were built later on. I want to say they were fairly, because back then we used to actually, I do remember, maybe even before you, but we would walk to the river bottom and we would go right through that before those buildings were there. So we would get to the river bottom and you know, hang out in the river bottom, which was kind of dangerous then, even if you think about it. Like
just the sheer distance it took to get there, I feel like. You know, we're walking summertime, no water.
Yeah.
Was that a mile? I mean, which is no big deal, but it's not an easy mile.
You know what? It was probably at the very, very most a mile. At the very most. Like peak distance was a mile. So I would guess maybe more like a half mile.
Okay.
Because it was just at the end of our block. We go past those warehouses and then it was there.
Or like we'd find different things. Since we saw people like etch faces in the side of the wall. Tommy did that?
Yeah, Tommy made those faces. He made like those. He carved those faces in that side of that bank of you know, like the wall cliff of the river. Yeah, Tommy.
Wow.
Yeah, Tommy was actually doing that, and those stayed there for a long time, like
years. You know, I feel like. Yeah,
I feel like they were there for a while.
Because I feel like seeing them, and then maybe it took you or you were acting like you didn't know who made those.
Probably.
But you were just surprised. You're like, what are these? What are these? You know, I'm like, whoa,
right.
Yeah. But,
yeah, I probably definitely knew what they were. I was just fucking with you.
Dude, I didn't have any fear doing that, you know, any of that as a kid. And like Lily today is terrified to be left home alone, or not terrified, like, you know, we'll leave her home alone for like an hour now.
Right.
But she has a cell phone and, you know, she could always reach out and, you know, she doesn't care that much anymore. Like the first time she's like, well, what's going to happen? I was like, well, just call us, you know.
Well, you tell them don't answer the door. Well, why?
Yeah.
Because someone can kill you. Someone's going to kill me? No.
Dude, she is so terrified when someone knocks on the door. I remember it was like 8:00 at night and we had some kind of late delivery from FedEx or something, and they just, you know, knock and run, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that happened and Lily like jumped out of the chair. What is that? Who is this? What is? And I was like, it's someone at the door.
Yes.
Like, well, I don't understand the problem here, you know? And I go and I was like, it's probably just a package. And she's just all like looking like, what is it? You know? It drives me nuts. And I'm like, what the hell happened?
There's nothing to be afraid of. Yeah.
I
mean, to think about it, like I remember we were out somewhere one time. Maybe it was on, I don't know. Maybe it might have been, I was pretty young, but I remember someone kicked in our door and robbed their house while we were gone. Like literally robbed our house. They took the TV. They took everything in our house that was of value.
Really?
I remember they kicked in our door And I think my dad maybe thought he knew who it was or whatever. I remember him, you know, checking somebody out, but I don't think we ever found out
How
who
old
did
were you?
it. I had to have been, we were probably driving in the Mustang still, so I was pretty young, probably
Okay.
second grade maybe.
Dude, so when those warehouses were built, we used to ride our bikes over there and there was a wall.
Right.
And I feel like that wall wasn't always there. And then one time, you know, at some point they built it and we used to like throw our bikes over this brick wall.
Yeah, I remember doing that, or we would stash them out by the wall, or we would just leave them there and jump over.
Yeah.
I think if we were going to continue going to the river bottom, that's what we'd have to do. Or I think even on the right, if I think correctly, you know, remember where that water thing was?
That's what we'd use to step on to get over the wall.
Remember where that is? But that's where the corner of the wall was.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we continued going straight and there wasn't a house there, it was almost like an alleyway.
But I remember having to walk straight through that lot thinking it was someone else's. Like there was some trashy house to the right.
Yeah.
And that scared the crap out of me. Just go. Maybe someone's come on, say something.
Right.
Just keep going, you know.
Yeah. We do. I remember we were in the river bottom and we found we always found stray dogs down there, or like, I remember there was a dog that we had that would follow us. We gave it food and water. And then, you know when dogs play, they play and they'll go to, you know, they'll bite you, but they won't, they don't bite. They just put their mouth on you. And I remember we had Jesse with us and it did that to Jesse. And Jesse was like, oh my God. Oh, you know, like the dog bit me. And we, forever we told him, dude, you have rabies. And he's like, no. And I'm like, and we're like, yes, Jess, you have rabies. Don't tell mom because you'll break her heart. You know, don't tell mom you have rabies. And so for like a week, he thought he was dying of rabies, and we let him, but he wouldn't tell my mom because he didn't want to break her heart. We were dicks, awesome. but it was hilarious.
I don't remember. Dude, I remember finding dogs and like going on like dog hunts, right? Like someone would put it, like, you know, this is old school. People put up posters like missing dog.
Right.
And then that was our job for 2 weeks. And we'd like go check in with the lady who lost her dog. And we're like, you know, we haven't found anything yet, but we're still looking. And, you know, are you sure it's a gray dog? Because we found a black dog. And, you know,
we found like, this dog. Is this it? Are you sure this is a cat right here? This is missing also.
we'd love the $15 reward, please. You know.
I remember we would go to I don't know if you were there or not, but you remember when if you've driven by Tempe, you know how they have that hill there and that big white tower in the middle of it. And we used to climb up on top of that hill and we would get these big rocks and we would slide down that hill. Do you ever remember doing that?
Nope, never once. Yeah.
I remember we would do that, and I remember we were like kept sliding and then we'd go up and we'd slide back down and we'd grab another rock and then we lift up these. I realized every rock we were lifting up there were like 5 scorpions underneath.
Oh,
we just
God damn
it. And we but I had done it like, you know, 10 times before that. And then I noticed like, oh shit, every time I pick up a rock, there's scorpions under there. And, you know, so every single time, so we stopped doing it after that, but we're like, holy shit, those are times with like you think about as a kid, how many times we did stupid stuff and probably should have died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not that a scorpion would kill us, but like, you know, I think we were saved a lot. Even just jumping, like I remember I would jump off this on my bike. It was a good 4-foot drop. I feel like we'd jump off it, and sometimes I boom land and rack my balls or whatever on the thing. But like, or you know, there's just so many things. Or playing with fire, or fireworks. So many dangerous things that we did that we probably could have fucking burned a neighborhood down.
This is where you're going to get in trouble from your dad, probably.
Yeah.
But he had that balloon launcher.
We started off right with balloons, right? We would launch balloons far, and then we're like, oh, let's throw this orange in there, and then we launch an orange or whatever, and they were like, let's throw eggs in there, and this thing would launch like 2 blocks over. You know what I mean? So
no farther than that. I bet.
Yeah, we were just boom, and the next thing, let's throw rocks in there. So we're like, who knows what we're hitting? Who knows what we're fucking up?
I don't ever remember doing rocks.
We
did that. We did. Okay, yeah, I guess I fucked it up. I remember holding it one time, and you're pulling it back, and it's like I'm shaking, I'm trying to hold it or whatever, and it just you know comes out of my hand,
right?
And it freaking like wrapped around Jesse, and. Just screaming, crying. He's like calling me names. I'm I'm a big old wimp. I couldn't hold it, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. It just happened, man. I don't like it was so fast because it was so you know.
Oh yeah, that thing was like it's a big ass rubber band, so it hurt fucking coming back at you. Yeah, but I used to think shit. Yeah, I used to think we were in. There's no way anybody will ever catch us because we're launching whatever we wanted to, 2-3 blocks over. They would never think it's coming from our street. You know what I mean?
And we always had a limited supply of stuff, right? I mean, that's why we went to eggs, right? Because and then we had to go get eggs, like from our parents' house, and and sneak them out, and so it's like I felt like we only shot it like 5 or 6 times, and I remember feeling bad about it too. I remember like watching it go up, and then waiting, and we're like, okay, we can hear it, and all of a sudden you hear, oh, like you could hear it land, like we're like,
and most likely it landed on somebody's roof, right? So I don't remember. Yeah. I remember us also like returning to the scene of the crime by riding our bikes or something down these streets trying to see where it would have hit. But I don't think we ever saw anything. I can't remember seeing anything like that.
Dude, out of all of the bad things I did as a kid, I only got caught once. Well, twice. I mean, but like once by someone that I actually like affected. You remember how? So once they widened Priest, and then they put those. And you weren't with me. I think it was someone else from school.
Sean. It was Sean.
No, it wasn't.
Is it the oranges?
No. So that's different, right? Like I got caught. Like that's different. My dad was mad at me.
Right.
But so I felt like I was with some other kid, and I don't know if he's the one that got me into it, or maybe for sure Sean got me into this 100%. Right. But so the walls were staggered, right? So it was like they were like sound barrier walls, and so you could just sneak between them and like you know get into the neighborhood. And so then I remember freaking picking up a handful of rocks, popping out between those and throwing them at cars, and then taking off running. And one time I freaking chucked it at some cars. Dude, I can picture it. I can picture like this white, like, to me it looked like he was methed out or something, but he was just an adult, and I was like, burly and whatever. And I mean, he was probably 22, here I am, 12, and slams on his brakes, and I'm like, ugh. I like freeze for a second, take off running. And I felt like I had a plan of what to do and where to go in case something happened. And I just remember all of that went out the window, and I just remember running forever. Yeah. And then I'm freaking running down this alley, and this car drives by,
and he sees you,
and he sees me, but he passes, comes back, he gets out, and he's like, "Are you?" He starts, just freaking yelling at me, and I'm scared. I'm like, oh shit. Like, and I'm like a fool. I don't turn around and run. You know what I mean? Like he's got his car parked there. I should have done that. And, but he's like, what's your name? Who are you? And I'm like, my name's Fred. Like, I remember saying, I'm Fred. Like, see what there you think of. But, that was the only time I ever got in trouble. Like out of all the bad things I ever did, only time I got caught like in the act by the person, you know what I mean?
Right.
So. I don't really, think riding.
I'm trying to think. Was there? What else did we had to have got? I mean, we did so many stuff. How did we not get caught so much? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember starting fires and getting caught by a policeman. But like, I was burning down. Yeah, I was. I wasn't there just with my brother Rob. We were walking. Yeah, because you were there. We had to go to like, my dad sent us to rallies or something, and as a kid, you find a lighter. That's gold.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think we found a book of matches or something. And then we were walking, and because we were we were still in our neighborhood, but blocks from our street, and there was like a big old red anthill on the side of someone's yard or whatever, and then we're just freaking antagonizing them with sticks or whatever, and then I'm just like sitting there, just like throwing matches into it, and and then I remember like doing it, and then like looking over, and there's like a cop in a car right there. I'm like, oh shit, And what are you guys doing? And we're like, nothing, sir. Do you want the matches?
Did he take him and leave you alone, or what?
Oh, he took him and talked to us for like 5 minutes. Yeah. And
like you shouldn't be doing this.
Just scared the crap out of us. You know what I mean? So
I do not. I was not there because I would have cried, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like I didn't handle cops well back then. But I mean, like even like all that stuff we did was out in the open. Even at that school that was down the street.
Yeah.
We like just setting the whole freaking field on fire, you know what I mean? Like thinking we're starting a little fire in the corner, and all of a sudden, it's Arizona grass, all dried and yellow, dead, and it just all of a sudden it's going, 30 feet. feet. We're thinking, oh my god, what the fuck are we gonna do? Because it's a lot of smoke. It flash real hard. And then a lot of times we're grabbing gasoline or whatever else too. So we were just doing stupid stuff.
I remember like you stepping on it, trying to put it out. Like someone's going to see, because it is right there. It's a street. Isn't it? Like our street is right there. You know
we're not even hiding. We're like out in the open. Yeah.
Dude, I remember one time doing, speaking of doing dumb things. I don't know. I don't think you were here with me. I feel like I've told you the story, but we had, we hopped the fence or went through the gate because, all the gates were typically unlocked of Jessica's house because they had a pool, right? Yeah. And we took Sean must have been with me, dude.
No, I was with you.
Where we took the chlorine tablet and put it in the jar?
Oh, maybe not. Never mind. Okay. I thought we were taking the Zimas because we used to do there and take the Zimas out of their refrigerator back there.
That did we even have to rig that thing, or we just hit the button, like hit Dr. Pepper and out came Zima. We're like,
Zima,
this is gold right here, man.
I think we started off by even going into their house when they were gone because they left the back door open.
I never went in their house.
I know Sean and I for surely did that. Sean was like, you and I would do something cool. And we're like, this is cool. This isn't too bad. We're not doing anything too naughty.
Right.
But Sean would come into the situation and he just upped it to like the next level where we're
breaking into jail.
Yeah. We're doing stuff that we shouldn't be fucking doing. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe we pushed a button, no Zimas come out, and Sean's like, well, let's just go in the house and get some. And we're like, okay, that's a great idea. And so that's what Sean would do. Sean was so... and luckily that was later on when we were kind of older. Like he came, I don't know, how old were we when he got there? I mean, I was probably 8th grade.
You were in high school, right? Yeah.
8th and maybe freshman, 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, maybe. But like even the Frito-Lay factory, like like it was okay. Maybe it was okay to open up the back of that truck and take a bag of chips or whatever. But then next thing you know, Sean has like 4 boxes he's dragging home a mile from the Frito-Lay factory full of shit. And we're like, okay, well.
During one time we went in there, we took a flat of like Frito-Lay. Yeah, but it was the bean dip, I remember. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a fort in the backyard, which we had dug, like this giant hole.
The hole. That's what we called it, the hole.
The hole. And we had boxes from that freaking warehouse area where it was like fridge boxes or something. I don't know what it was. And so that we had a whole second layer. And I remember my dad one time coming in and peering in, like we're not there. I'm like, coming around the corner of the house. And I'm like, oh no, my dad's in there. Because that's where we stored all the chips and everything.
Yeah.
It was like this great hiding spot.
And porn magazines and shit. Remember we had all that stuff. We had a hole inside of the hole. Remember we built a floor, but it had you can open it up and get all the porno mags out.
Like the center, we had and we're like,
dude, that hole is huge if you think about it. Because we would have 3 or 4 people in there sometimes.
Yeah.
But I would say that was easily 6 foot diameter, right? 6 foot wide. And I know it was pretty damn deep to where we can almost stand up and just be hunched over.
Yeah.
It was huge.
It's like
and then
4 feet deep, easy.
Then we put boards on top, and then we built a fort on top of it. That it was the coolest fort in the world.
It was cool.
Tree houses are for pussies. Yeah. It was summertime, and we were in the ground keeping cool. It was awesome. Bugs got in there a lot, remember?
Yeah. Did you remember building a fireplace in there?
Yes, I do remember making fire in
we
there.
Had, I have it. The scar is gone finally on my finger, dude. I probably had it for 20 years. But we had, for some reason, like built this fireplace out of bricks. Like just, it was only this big, right? And then we're like
no vent, right?
No, we had like a flue or whatever it's called, right? Yeah,
I don't remember.
It was like black ABS pipe that we found.
I do remember that now.
Which is just like shit.
Even worse. Yeah.
And so then we're like, and dude, we're idiots, man. We're dead. Like, this is the stuff that kids don't do today, right?
Yeah.
We're in this, and it's not like it's easy to climb out of this thing. Or I remember it wasn't like, if we all caught on fire, it would be chaos getting out of that hole. Yeah,
definitely.
But we got like lighter fluid down there, and we're squirting it in there, and then we're like trying to light it, and it's we're just throwing matches like crazy. I remember like my hands. I remember eating that night and like smelling lighter fluid on my fingers as I'm eating.
Oh yeah.
There was some, but then dude, so we made it waterproof, and this is what's dumb. We freaking made it waterproof by finding some plastic sheeting or whatever and putting it on top, and then putting the wood on top of that, right?
Yeah.
For the roof, and then but the plastic, maybe I burned the plastic or something, but I remember it caught on fire, and then we're just like, whoa, look at that, and it's like dripping, And you start to freak out, and it freaking lands right on my finger. And I'm like, oh, and it's like wax. It immediately dries out. I'm pulling off, and now I just have this hole in my finger. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I remember that.
Dude, I don't want my daughter doing that at all. I don't want her to be in a hole of fire. Like, that is so dumb.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is we would have cool ideas, but we always take stupid things too far, right? Like when it started off as just a hole, and you and I were the only ones back there, and really, Rob and Jess never really went back there, but all we did was just hang out there, look at nudie magazines, and hang out. That's what we do. We'd spend hours in a hole. You know what I mean? And then like Sean or the neighbor kids started seeing our hole, and then we're like, well, let's expand. We need it upstairs, and we started building upstairs and stuff. But I remember even as I think I was making out with Jessica on that top thing up there before.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. But
dude, I remember you one time.
I had to have been 8th grade by then. I think I was in 8th grade at that time. I'm thinking I was at least 8th grade. Maybe
that's when you went
freshman.
through your
little perv
religious
stage.
stint.
Religious? No.
Yeah, dude, you used to go to like church, like these church things, right?
Oh yeah, 8th grade. That was 8th grade. That was actually between 8th and because Tommy was doing his catechism thing. He's getting baptized. Right. He was already in high school, I want to say, or maybe he did it. He did it he did it at the 8th grade freshman year, I want to say, and then he talked me into doing it because he and his girlfriend were going to be the adult or the older chaperone kids.
That's what they do with religion, man. They suck you in. Go get all your friends. It's like a pyramid scheme,
So we did that. That was just like a few months of my life. I did that. I think I forget how long it takes to do that class. Yeah, but it was a long time. But yeah, I had like a wooden cross necklace or something. That was 8th grade. I think
you were so proud of that. I remember like you were different. Like you'd come over and like your hair was combed. You'd have gel in it. And I'm what am I 6th grade?
And see, it's funny it's funny that you think that was for religion. It's because I was an 8th grader who's starting to like girls, and I wanted to look good for it.
I don't. And there was
a cutie, and there was a cutie at that class I would go to on once a week or whatever, on a Monday night or Tuesday night or whatever. There was a cute girl there, so I always wanted to be looking good for her. Dude, that's awesome. What it was.
Yeah,
it had really zero to do with religion. I never preached to you. I was not like a preaching to you or anything.
No, dude, I was even surprised. I think you tried to keep it away from me. Like it was like you were going to this religious. Like you eventually came out. You're like, no, I can't. I gotta go or whatever. And but I was just like, well, where are you going? And it just came out, and it's like, oh, well, that's what you've been doing for 3 weeks. Like,
right.
Not that you were ashamed from it, but dude, also at the same time, like that's I'm this grubby 6th grade kid, or even young, like dude, I was in 5th grade, so I'm like 10, and here you are, almost a freshman in high school, and we're friends, but it's like that was a weird point. So that was where, it was 10. It was kind of weird, like because I remember as we were getting older, we really only hung out a lot during summertime, and during school time, I guess we still hung out during school time too, but not as much on the weekends. But then I started hanging out with my friends, more my age. But I mean, like, an 8th grader and a 5th grader was a big difference back then. You know what I mean? Like, huge, yeah. Well, that's why I'm surprised a kindergartner and a 4th grader, even though we didn't hang out then, and I get I was the only kid on the block closest to your age.
What year did you graduate?
99.
99, okay. Because I graduated in 96, 3 years. But yeah, we hung out a lot. We definitely hung out a lot. I know we did. We hung out a lot, but I know as I got into high school, we probably didn't hang out as much. I remember I'd be like, hey, I'm going to Joey's house. I can't hang out with you.
Yeah, I'm Joey.
Yeah.
It was all good. But, dude, going back to, I remember like doing dumb shit. I remember, so we went into, Jessica's backyard or whatever, found a chlorine tablet, and somehow we had a mason jar. I don't know who, like, I think there was one mason jar in the whole block. Now, like, in my house, I don't know if it's because it's popular, but I've like, that's what we drink water out of. We got 15 mason jars, and but we dropped the chlorine tablet in there, and I can't remember what else we put in it. I'm too stupid, like, I didn't look it up, but it was obviously
like
water
or
baking soda, something like that, baking powder. I don't know which one it was, and just freaking locked it up and then like shook it, and then we took it over to that school on the end of the street and just and we like, eventually we just left it. Well, I think someone saw us and called the cops on us because we're just standing there staring at it, but we're across the street. Dude, maybe you were with me because I don't know. It's like sometime I wasn't
cops
smart
showed
enough.
up, I wasn't there.
Okay, yeah. So cops showed up, and he was like, "So what are you guys doing?" And we were just like, "Why are you?" Because by the time he showed up, we were just like, we were almost like two houses down, and we're just like kind of watching, waiting like for it to crack open or something. And he walks, like we tell him exactly what we did, and he walks over there, picks it up, sets it down, and then like, you know, came back and said, he's like, "Hey, that thing is like red hot, it's glow," or it was like not.
Yeah,
it was super hot. Yeah, and he's like, you know, it's about to blow or whatever. And I think he just put it in his car, but nothing happened to us. Like,
really?
He didn't talk to our parents. He didn't. Nothing.
I guarantee Sean was at because Sean was always doing. I mean, we did. I guess I would have done that too, probably if I was there.
That you definitely would have done that. I don't think there was anything stopping you from.
Yeah,
like it was cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I would have definitely done it. But like the cops always got involved. I think neighbors always watched Sean because Sean was always fucking in trouble over there. Yeah. Right. He was always the bad kid of the neighborhood. So I think if they saw Sean doing something, you know, that's when they're getting suspicious or calling the cops. So,
well, because he would do the things that we wouldn't do, right? Where he would break into houses.
Yes.
Right. Like I knew obviously he broke into Jessica's house. He broke into, what was that house on the, if you're in our street?
Ramu. Remember Ramu and Ethan?
Yep. That's what I was going to talk about. Yeah. I think he broke into their house or something.
Yes.
And
he did.
Yeah, it's just.
Yes. And I was with him on that one.
Uh-oh. Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was.
Did you get in trouble for that?
No. No one got caught for that.
I thought he got, but it's, you know, somehow people knew what he was up to.
I think my buddy, it was my buddy Ben's dad's house also, and he wasn't really my buddy. I didn't really like him, but I remember he was saying, "Yeah, well, we know it was Sean. We know it was that." I'm like, "No, I don't think it was him. I don't think, you know," because I was there. I was like, "No, I don't think it was him." But I think we end up like, I don't remember. I think I had that laptop for a long time that I took from that house.
Wow, dude, no.
And I had like a Phil Collins tape. I hope there's not a statute of limitations here. Like, am I gonna go to jail for something 30 years ago? But no, it was because it had to have been 30 years ago at least. But I remember having like just grabbing loose change. Like Sean was fucking ripping shit out. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Well, I'll take this, and I ended up giving Sean the laptop. I just took it out of the house, and then I think he pawned it. I don't know what he did with it.
When you say he was ripping stuff out, what was he doing?
Like stereo stuff. He was like pulling stereos out of the wall, you know, like pulling
out of the entertainment center or whatever.
Yeah. Wow. You know, stuff like that.
That's not his first time.
Oh, no. He was a crook, man. Sean was a crook. And you know what? I didn't want to do it. I want to say, and you know what it was, I think I was kind of older too. I think I was a sophomore maybe in high school. But you know, I was bad. I was a bad kid. Like, you know, my buddies I used to hang out with that weren't you, we used to like, you know, we would never break into a car, but if a car was unlocked, it was free ride. If there's something in there, we get it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, remember I had those speakers, that speaker box underneath my bed for a long time. You gave
them to me for a long time to hold.
Yeah. And then, and like we would just, you know, we would take everybody's change. I mean, if the door was unlocked, you should lock your door. That's how we looked at it. Of course, it's still wrong. And that's why when my car gets broken into, which I believe that my vehicles have been broken into more often than I've broken into cars. But I think, you know, I get pissed off, but I'm like, my fucking karma, man, it comes back and I'm getting paid double. I'm paying double for what I did as a kid. So,
dude,
it's hard for me to get angry.
So you gave me those speakers, and they were like shitty speakers, right?
Or we couldn't get them to work. We could never even get them to work.
No, dude, oh, did you? Maybe only half of them or something. Yeah. You know, but I remember like they were just built like it was like you or I built them, right? It was like thick particle board, those 3/4 inch,
heavy.
whatever, heavy as shit. Yeah. Yep. I feel like we had to bring it in through like my window or something. But I had my own bedroom by then, and so it's under my bed, and my dad is never in my bedroom, never. And then we had a cat, and I remember once, like every now and then, my dad would play with the cat, you know, and I remember walking down the hallway, turning to go into my room, and my dad is laying on the ground.
And you're like,
with like an arm under my bed and like, playing with the cat or whatever. And he's like, hey, what are these speakers here? And I was like, I just remember like my heart, like I wanted to throw up.
And you were the worst liar too, as a kid. You were the worst. Like you would crack under your dad's pressure all the time. You'd be like, yeah, Chris and I smoked cigarettes. And like he didn't even like know anything happened. You just were feeling so guilty about it.
Like, I asked how your day was. That's all he was asking.
He's like, hey, so how's your day? Me and Chris smoked cigarettes. And I'm like, fuck. Come on. And I'm like, how would you tell him? Because we found that pack of Cools and it had like 4 cigarettes in it or something like that.
I think twice we found cigarettes, I feel like.
Yeah.
Twice,
probably. Yeah. Probably the first time we had them, we just burnt them. We lit them on fire or whatever. Yeah. And I think the second time we actually tried to puff them behind this tree at Cook's, that school over there.
Dude, I feel like with that second time, I was like, just being stupid, like a dumb, dramatic kid. And like we're playing basketball and I'm like acting like I'm hacking up a lung.
Like you can't breathe.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm a smoker now. This is what I do.
You took like one huff and you didn't even probably inhale.
No, it was just in my mouth. Yeah. It was dumb. Yeah. Dude, so did you ever get caught? Like what was the worst trouble you got into that you can talk about, I guess I should say, that happened when you were a kid?
I was never like my dad whooped my ass for a lot of stupid stuff. But I was younger, so like stuff that I shouldn't have, like I'd spray paint something at my house and then I'd get my ass whooped and then I'd go back.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
And then I'd go into the backyard to spray paint the tree the next day. Well, I'm not spray painting. I'm spray painting a tree, not this, and I'm still getting in trouble. I'm like, well, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. But or like I threw a rock. Remember, I don't know if you were in the yard when I threw a rock and it went through Yolanda's bedroom window. And then my dad comes out. My dad comes out and I'm like, and I'm pointing out like, it must have been Brian Overby on the other side of the street. And I'm pointing over there and I turn around and every motherfucker's pointing at me that I threw that fucking rock. Oh, I got my ass beat that day. Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Dude, your dad was scary.
My dad used cable cord, like a coaxial cable cord to whoop my ass on that one. That was a fun one. Then I remember thinking, getting in trouble outside, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go inside and my dad would be right by the door and he's standing at the door and I gotta go in the door. So I would try to run as fast as I can through that threshold of the door because my dad popped me right upside the head as I'm going through. Doesn't matter how fast I'm going. He had a quick hand. I never made it through without him missing. I'm like, oh, trying to get out of there. No, got him. I'm rolling through the house.
So, but you never, you were never arrested.
The only time I've never been arrested till I was an adult, and that's when I didn't even do it that time. That was that time I got pepper sprayed in my eyes and Jesse ran, and me and Bruce were arrested.
What happened?
For nothing, because it was my birthday and we were leaving the bar and Bruce was walking up ahead and some big testosterone dude bumped Bruce, as he's walking by, and Bruce is like, what the hell, and the guy's like, what?
Yeah.
And then Jesse's walking and he bumps Jesse and then him and Jesse go face to face. And then I'm like,
is this in the bar or is this outside?
No, this is outside in the parking garage.
Okay.
Right. And then I'm like, oh, whoa, what's going on? Like they were kind of going at each other and I got in the middle of them to break them up and I push them apart. I'm getting in the middle. Next thing you know, I have this ice cold liquid going in my eyes. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And then like the next second is like the burning sensation is unbelievable. So I cut my face and I'm like, God, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then like, I can't see now, like I'm blind. So all I know is I'm holding my face and I'm like, what is going on? I have no clue. I'm like, who did this to me? And then now I'm getting handcuffed and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, who's doing this? Why is that happening? And I'm screaming and then and I'm like, I have no clue. I'm like, why? And then so the cops like, you're under.
Can you see it all?
No, I can't see, dude.
Okay.
That stuff in my eyes, I can't see. It's
like your eyes are open, or you can't even open them.
No, at this point I can't open them. They're closed because I can't. It hurts so bad I can't open my eyes.
You can breathe okay, or was breathing?
No, and it's fucking hard as hell to breathe. And I'm like, it's just the worst. One of the top top 10 pains for me.
Wow.
And I'm handcuffed. I'm like screaming. I'm like, what? And, you know, I remember one lady cop saying, she goes, "Are you been drinking?" I go, "Yeah, I've been drinking." She goes, "Well, it's obvious you're belligerent." I'm like, "No, I got fucking pepper sprayed in my eyes. That's what's wrong with me right now." You know, I go, the pain is ridiculous. I wasn't even doing anything. And they're like, "You're under arrest for disorderly conduct, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, I wasn't even doing anything. I was getting in the middle of two guys trying to fight. And anyway, they ended up letting me go. And, you know, I remember, I don't know how, I know Jesse bolted. Me and Bruce are ones that got arrested.
What did Bruce get arrested for?
Because he was there too. Because it was just, we all got this, and the guy who started it all also was there. So the three of us. So I don't know if they won, I guess, or whatever. But all I know is I felt like Jesse's like, "I got pepper spray too." I go, "No, the pepper spray you got bounced off my eyeballs and landed on you." You know,
where did Jesse go?
He just bolted. He just ran, and he said he couldn't see. He was running into the fence and running into walls and stuff. He bolted.
Do you believe that?
Oh yeah, he's fast.
No. That he was running into things because he couldn't see. I mean, if there's two cops and they got three out of the four,
just a tiny bit of pepper spray is ridiculous, and I got a gallon in my eyeballs. So I remember like I got a hold of Jesse somehow. The cops uncuffed me and I had a court date or whatever. So I didn't go to jail, but I was, you know, when they handcuffed me, they said I was under arrest for disorderly conduct. Anyway, they didn't let me go. I had a ride. Some girls were there. I don't know who they were. And we ended up picking up Jesse blocks down the way. And I remember we go to these girls' houses and I'm like, you know, and I've been drinking all night, so I got to piss this whole time. I probably was handcuffed for an hour, you know, or it felt like an hour anyway. The pain was ridiculous,
right?
And I'm like, I gotta go.
Dude,
and like,
real quick, did the cops help you at all? Like,
no,
you know, give you like a wet towelette? You know what I mean? Like, here's a freaking airplane wipe.
Shit.
You know?
No, my eyes are still bloodshot red. I'm still freaking in pain. Everything, like it's going down my face, my neck, right? So, and like even people in the car couldn't sit next to me, like, you know, it was just fumes. And I'm like, so what, you know, I had to pee so bad. So I get out of the car when we get to the girl's house and she lives in like some condos or whatever. So I go by the community trash can to go pee. So it's a cold winter night, you know, so I'm digging in my pants to try to get my wiener out and I'm peeing and, you know, I have both hands probably in there. What was the first thing I did when I got pepper sprayed, Chris?
And grabbed your face. Yeah.
Yeah. So that shit's all in my pants, and next thing you know, my balls are burning like crazy too. So it was just a freaking nightmare. Then the girl's like, "You should get in our shower," you know. So I go in her shower, and you know, it's an oily stuff, so it doesn't mix good with water. It's like
right. You need soap.
They tell you not to put water on it. Anyway, it's all going down my whole body. I'm burning all over. It was the worst idea. It was so shitty. It was so fucking shitty. I was so mad about that.
Dude, how long were you messed up for?
I feel like it lasted. You know what? It depends, because really it felt like I was handcuffed for an hour. It was probably not even that long.
I'm saying so you took the shower and then like the next morning were you fine?
Oh no. Well, I would say my eyeballs hurt for a couple days. Like my skin wasn't hurting so much. My eyes were irritated for at least a couple days.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, like you were
doing was breaking up a fight, man.
Yeah, and they weren't even fighting yet. They weren't even fighting. And then I go to court, and then I'm pleading innocent. I'm not guilty. I didn't do anything. And then so I even was telling him, Sergeant Powell is his name, Tempe Police Department. Sergeant Powell. He's a piece of shit. You know, he was going up there and he was saying how me and this guy was like probably over 6 foot, 6 something, probably 250 pounds at the time, you know, big dude.
Freaking roided a little bit.
Yeah, roided dude. And I'm just, you know, I'm here $158, $160, you know, 5'8". And he's saying that him and I were fighting back and forth and people kept pulling us apart.
Whoa.
Yeah. The cop was saying this in the courtroom.
Oh.
And yeah, so the cop was saying that him and I were fighting and they were pulling us apart. And he warned us several times that he's going to pepper spray us. And then finally we knocked him and his bike over. So he pepper sprayed us. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? That is a complete freaking lie.
Dude.
And then he, so I remember saying, so I had my chance to talk and I said, Officer Powell. He goes, Sergeant Powell. I'm like, Sergeant Powell.
He already owns you. He knows you won already.
And yeah, oh yeah, there's no way I'm winning this, right? And I didn't know any better, but he's like, and I go, in your 15 years experience, when you've had two grown men exchanging blows like you were saying, isn't there normally bloody noses or black eyes or any other bloody lips or any other injuries? He goes, well, it depends on the situation. I go, but if they're exchanging blows, like you said, isn't there something? And I go, was there any injuries on the scene besides me being pepper sprayed with, and he goes, no. I go, then how can you say we were fighting back and forth like that? Because we weren't. And then, so that was pretty much my rebuttal.
Right.
And then the prosecuting attorney guy, he asked Sergeant Powell, he's like, was there a crowd around there? Possibly blocking a walkway? And he's like, absolutely. He goes, there's disorderly conduct for you. Then I'm like, are you kidding me? I go, and then the judge is, telling me, because I've never been arrested or anything before. And I was like, and he's like, so what do you think your punishment should be? I go, for doing nothing and being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I think being pepper sprayed was punishment enough. And he's like, all right, I'll take that into consideration. Anyway, they gave me like a $500 fine, and that was it. Then I had a misdemeanor on my record forever. I don't know when that goes away.
Yeah, dude, that infuriates me, right? Like,
oh, it totally does.
I don't like, that's my issue with the police, man. And I don't want to make this about the police necessarily, but like if they can't be wrong, right? It's okay to throw you in handcuffs, to assess the situation, they feel like things are going on, and then once they figure out what it is, okay, hey, listen, we no longer need to handcuff you. This is why we did it. It was, right, safety. This was going on. We just needed to secure the scene, whatever, right? We had one of the two people at bay, so it's not going to happen anymore,
Right.
But then to concoct this story.
Yeah, well, I think because he came in blazing with his pepper spray that he had to have a reason for it. You know what I mean? You can't just spray people you can't just spray pepper spray for no reason because you think something's going to happen.
Do you think that he made it up, or he believed that story in his mind?
I believe he knew exactly what he was doing.
He made it up.
I believe he's a piece of shit, and there's probably been several people he's fucked over in his career. So fuck you, Sergeant Powell. I hate you.
Tempe police, watch out.
Tempe police, fuck you.
This was 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was just before I met Christy. I think it was probably 2005 or so.
Okay.
But still.
But as a kid, man, going back to that, out of all of the things, right? Like I have a list, and I don't think that my list is, it's funny. I had a hard time thinking of stuff. We had, we started a crap ton of fires. We
remember real quick, remember my dad had that big atlas, and he had that magnifying page. It was a big old magnifying glass.
Yes.
And that thing would catch rocks on fire. Remember how it would just burn a hole in a rock? And I remember us putting our hand there, boom, instantly.
Yeah, right.
Birds, yeah.
Dude, as dumb as it sounds, right? Like, not to sound all dorky, but like understanding the power, like that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know, somehow when I was 21, I was smarter because I did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds dumb, but like,
and we would like go to the ant piles at that point, and then just be like imagine those poor fucking ants, and we're murderers, but like we would have that beam of light, and they would instantly smoke the second that light hit them.
And they would all
and go in a ball,
and all of them would come running out, and they were just catching them as they're coming out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah. It was like a laser. Can you imagine that happening to us? All of a sudden, this laser just starts fucking us up.
You're all like, I think I could hear him screaming. And
yeah, you can. You're like,
no, that was
the probably just their
liquid escaping out of their body.
yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm surprised. I bet you kids couldn't get away with that today, right? Like,
probably not.
Dude, that bomb that's effectively what we made, right? Like, it wasn't in that wasn't our intent. We're just like chlorine baking soda or whatever. Let's see what happens. But like post 9/11, or at least if we would have done that in 2004, you know what I mean? It would have been, watch list. Yep. It would have been a whole like we're jihadists or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and we used to bury a M80. Remember the little half stick of dynamite they called or whatever they called, and they had the wick in the middle. We'd bury that in the dirt where the anthill is and light it and run. It was awesome.
Did you remember my backyard? So we used to pile grass on the back.
Yep.
And some summer day, like you show up and you're like, dude, look what I got. It's an M80. And we're like, what do we do? And we're like sitting in my backyard.
It probably wasn't even that. I think it was just a little black cat that started that fire.
Dude, in my mind, I can picture
or a
an
smoker.
M80.
Remember even the smokers?
But those were like those black balls, right?
No, it was just a ball that smoke came out of, because I don't believe it made noise, because I believe the neighbor who came out would have been like, wouldn't have bought our bullshit, because we're like, oh no, we came out here and saw the smoke. And he's like, yeah, sometimes when grass is piled up there and then some days it gets 170 degrees in the middle, or whatever, and it can ignite. He was justifying how it self-caught on fire.
And if he would have heard a loud bang, because dude, those in the 80s like rock.
Oh yeah, they were loud. Yeah.
I think probably, dude, 5 years ago, I actually told my dad the truth about that story and about how we had, and I when I told him it was an M80, that's how I, think of it. But I remember, like, what was it? Like, you lit it, or maybe I lit it, you were holding it. Like, it was, both of us. It was like, you light it, I hold it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we're like, freaking we light it, we're like, shit, what do we do now? Oh no, and we just like threw it. So
threw it over the fence,
I feel like it must have exploded, or maybe it was going to get hot, and we knew it was going to get hot.
Right.
But then we go inside, and then, I don't know if my dad called.
No, your dad wasn't even home, I don't think.
Right, but I remember it must have. Yeah, so he called the house, said the alley was on fire. We go out there, and he's with his hose putting it out.
The neighbor was, right?
Yeah. The dude across the alley.
Yeah,
and but somehow, like, dude, I would have not. And maybe I was a bad liar, but I would have not told my dad that story. That, or maybe he went out there and saw. I mean, dude, it was just charred, right? We just had.
Yeah.
Dude, this pile of grass is probably 3 feet tall. And because every time we'd mow the lawn, we'd have to rake it up, put in 5-gallon buckets, dump it. And then he told that whole story, the neighbor did, about how, hey, maybe it combusted naturally.
Yeah, so and we just ran with that. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that weekend, I remember I had to freaking shovel all of that grass, put it in the dumpster. And, but still, I didn't get, like, at the time, I was like, I felt like my dad knew. Like, he was like,
right.
What'd you guys do? We're like, we didn't do anything. We're inside playing video games.
Yeah.
Street Fighter is what we're doing.
Yeah.
No.
Dude, it sucks because I know I have that wall that you had back there. Remember the caps were off.
I know where you're going, yeah.
And I got so many fucking cool ass G.I. Joes that fell down in there. Yeah, like fucking they're probably worth a lot of money at this point, but dude, they're down in that wall.
So yeah, so it was a brick wall, and you're gonna what was it, 6 feet tall? Probably.
Yeah.
5 feet, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But we're going to climb over it. And so we have just all these G.I. Joes, and you're like putting them up on the wall.
Yeah, so to climb over.
And then you can hop up. But you're putting them into like just these holes. And they're going down the hole. Oh.
I was so sad and upset about that. I still am to this day. Remember that one time you climbed up on the roof? And you could have shipped down. Like your fear of heights kicked in, where there was no reasoning with you. You were frozen up there, and like Lois, Bob, what's his name?
Dude, it was the whole neighborhood. I felt
the whole neighborhood had to come rescue.
Yeah, it is. I needed my foot to come down this much more. That was.
I'm like, dude, you're right there. Get it.
I couldn't do it. Like, they were threatening the fire department, which you were going to call the fire department.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't. Was it crying?
Oh yeah. You were you were young. I mean, but think about it. You were young. You're doing what stupid me was doing.
Dude, I still cannot get on roofs, man. I was doing, so we built a shed at our old house. One of the, back then, or was it 10 years ago, you can buy a shed at Home Depot for, on sale for like freaking $200. And, a 10 by 10, nothing. But this one was real. Like, you actually had to put shingles on it or whatever. It was wood.
Right.
And, so I told Kim, I was like, I can shingle that. I mean, like the roof line starts at 6 feet. So it starts, 2 inches above me.
Right.
And I get up there, man, and I freaking, dude, I got
I
a
know
wife,
exactly
I got a daughter, and I'm just like, I can't. Like, I'm just like, just like, and there were times where I'd have to just, like, I'm just sitting there. I'm not even moving. I'm sitting there, and it would feel like I'm falling. And, dude, I don't know what's up with me with heights.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dude, have you ever seen those videos of guys where they're walking up to the edge of a cliff, and as they get closer, like they can't do it, and it's a sheer cliff, and but off ahead's like some kind of ocean. It's like some kind of overlook, parking area and everything. And there's guys that are like they're hugging the ground, like they're freaking face down. Yeah, I can't do it, dude. That is me.
Yep.
That is 100%. I can't.
I've seen it firsthand, so yeah, I believe it. Dude, remember that one time we were playing ball of some sort? Maybe it was baseball. I don't think it was basketball. Could have been a basketball. But remember, across the street from my house, they had that house with all the cactuses. Remember? And
I do. I do remember.
Remember you?
I remember this.
Oh, that hurts laughing so. But the ball went under a cholla.
It wasn't a ball. Dude, it was in shop class. You made like a peace sign out of metal.
Oh, and that's what it was. It was something that you threw under there, right? Like that's the reason why you got it. You had to go get it or something because you threw it, and it was a jumping cactus. Dude. And you reach in there, and that fucking cactus stuck to the middle of your forehead. It was so brutal.
I swear to God, I just kissed it with my forehead. Like
you didn't have to do it. Yeah,
dude, it just grazed me, and I remember coming up, and then, and I'm like looking, and I got this thing bouncing on my forehead,
and as it's moving, more of those spines are sucking their way in and injecting their poison, whatever is in them, because I feel like they inject something into you as well.
It was itchy.
They're the worst. Yeah,
dude. It was. I remember like I went to go grab it, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
And like you jump into your dad's freaking truck or whatever to find pliers. Yeah.
And I'm as I'm pulling out of your head, I could see the skin of your forehead coming. And like, it was brutal. That was brutal.
We used to go out to dinner every Friday night, and my dad would always go out like to the sidewalk and whistle. Like that was his thing.
Right. I remember.
And I feel like it was around that time. Like he whistled, and I got this, and I felt like I was going to get in trouble, though. Like we're just playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I just remember thinking, I was like, oh, like dude, I remember I can feel the fear still that I felt of this thing.
Right.
Like, because it's on your face, and I don't know, like my eyes, I could see it. It's dangling, man. Oh, dude.
Were you there when we had one of my friends from school was telling us how they used to eat the prickly pear fruits? Mm-hmm. Were you there when we ate those too?
So, it was that same neighbor, right? We would go and prick
same
off.
House,
yeah.
So we pulled off his prickly pears, and I remember, they said, "Oh, you got to peel the skin off," and then I'm like eating, and I'm like, "Oh, this isn't really that bad." But next thing you know, I have fucking all kinds of splinters on my tongue, and I'm like, it's the worst fucking, and you can't see them, you can't reach. Oh, it was awful.
You know what, dude? It's funny that you're telling me this fucking story now, because I ate those with you, and it must have been after you ate them. Because I remember that same fucking thing of like just eating. And they didn't taste good. Like they weren't super sweet.
I remember them like not being awful. What I was thinking. We were probably talking about trying to survive on our own in the desert or something. And
that's what we always talked about.
We could survive this when we talked about running away. We always talked about running away. Remember?
But dude, I remember my tongue being like just always. I'm like, like every now and then I get hit with something like just trying to pull out. I'm like, there's fucking nothing there. Yeah. I feel like as I'm older, I didn't realize it at the time, but like you fucked with me a bunch, and I don't knock you for it. You know what I mean?
I was 3 years old. Yeah.
I don't hold it against you, but like that story right there, I was like, I don't think I ever knew that you did it before me. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. I probably had you do it after I think we did it together.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that we tried that thing. I think there was times where I did it. I don't think that's the time I fucked with you. I know I fucked with you a lot of time, but I remember doing it successfully, eating them, and I'm like, oh, we can do this. And then I probably showed you, in that time I wasn't as careful peeling it off. And that's when it happened. But remember we used to make those pea shooters too, out of the top of the milk carton in the balloon? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, man. Those hurt like a motherfucker.
I remember we're playing, so this is where Jesse would always get mad, because like you and I would be on a team, and it was always him and Rob, and and I remember running into, we had a carport, and then like on the other side of the carport was a little laundry room. It was like a shed add-on, right? Piece of shit that nothing. Right. And I remember going in there and thinking, oh, what can I do? And I filled the pea shooter up with like Tide powdered laundry detergent.
Right.
And then my brother comes like running in, and we're all like, we all have it. And so, and I just go like, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna create like a cloud bomb to run away or whatever. And I freaking boom, shoot this thing up, and it's just tied everywhere. And my brother comes running into it, eyes wide open, and just drops to the ground screaming. I got beat by a wooden spoon that time. That's like my mom. Probably the last time that she got me, I remember she told me to go wash my hands in the bathtub. And I didn't understand why. Like, why would I, like she was so mad at me, dude. She was so mad. And I feel bad. And I remember thinking, like, it's not that bad, Rob. Like, why you, like, he was screaming, dude, screaming.
And Rob was tough. So it hurt him.
Yeah,
it was hurting.
And I felt really bad about it. And my mom was like so mad, and she told me to go, again, wash my hands in the bathtub. And I realized, like, and props to my mom for understanding this.
Yeah.
I'm in such a prone position. Like, imagine washing your hands in the bathtub, and she comes in with a freaking wooden spoon, and it's just like just getting me, dude. And it was dumb.
That was good. That's a good
dude.
One.
That, like, I feel bad for doing that to Rob. But that was literally by accident.
Right.
The other time, like this next one, I freaking did on purpose. I actually, like, doesn't keep me up at night, but like, I'm like, you know what? I've got some karma coming still. We're shooting hoops. I remember, because we had a
that one,
basketball hoop. Yeah. And so I'm like, shooting free throws. We're playing 21 or something like that. And I go to shoot, and I come up, and Rob like looks away because he's watching so we can rebound, and instead of shooting, I throw it right at his head.
That's so fucked up.
I felt so bad.
You know what it was though, is because Rob would dominate us in basketball because he was so tall and he'd block all our shots. It's probably just one of those things you're tired of getting your ass kicked by him in basketball.
Yeah, he would have that stupid hook shot, man, that would always freaking win.
He was a good football player or a good basketball player.
Yeah, he doesn't do that hook shot anymore.
No.
Yeah, he's like a bit more aggressive. That was definitely like a kind of a scared shot. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
I remember one time with like one thing I did, Yolanda, we tortured her. She was the only girl, so we always gave her a hard time. And I don't know if you were there or not, but we made these. You remember making these everything shakes? And we would get everything in the house: ice cream, bananas, whatever, and put it in and eggs, even to make them a protein shake or whatever, because of Rocky or whatever. And we would drink them. And then I remember Yolanda was taking a drink of one, and like the egg must not have blended at all, because she took a big drink of it, and she's all, and all of a sudden the whole yolk, like the entire yolk comes out from her mouth, and she's like, and then we would get the gecko tails and put them down her shirt, how the gecko tails just come off.
Dude,
we would throw them at her.
You guys always had lizards at your house. Always.
Oh yeah, we had tons. Yeah,
we had roaches at my house.
We had roaches at our house too.
Yeah. Dude, one time I remember sitting. Which I want to go back to Yolanda, but I remember sitting, like, cross-legged on the floor, shorts. I'm freaking probably 12 years old. I don't have underwear on, I'm sure, because I'm a gross kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Either did I.
And I remember feeling like, oh, it's like some weird like itch, you know what I mean? And I was like, what is it? And then it happened again, and then eventually I like stood up in this freaking, because they were like black sewer roaches. Oh yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
big
they
ones
were
that came up from the sewage.
Yeah, but they would grow into those big ones with wings, I feel like. And there were girls like, oh, dude, I think from that moment on, I was terrified of roaches. I mean, I was scared of them before, but
no, I remember those ones with the wings that flew were different. Those are the Palo Verde beetles. Remember, we used to because I remember in our bathtub we used to have to keep a little saucer plate over our bathroom drains because the roaches would come up there, so we would keep it. But those big roach things, they had the pinchers on the front and they flew around. And remember, in summertime they come up and we like have our wiffle ball bats or tennis rackets or whatever, and we try to hit them out of the air. They would dive bomb you. Remember those things?
Yeah, I do.
You'd step on them and it looked like rice came out of them.
Yep, bunch of babies.
Oh yeah.
My dad would find like a tub of like mayonnaise or something, or fucking whatever it was back then, and he'd be like, "Hey Chris, why don't you pick that up?" or whatever. Like he's outside grilling on a little hibachi nothing grill,
right?
And, I go pick it up, and underneath it is some roach that's been under there for 4 days and died, but like laid its babies, laid all its eggs. I hated that.
Yeah,
dude. If I lived in a house where roaches were coming up out of the drain, and I'm sure that's where they were coming from because we didn't do that. But I remember like, dude, when did we leave that house? It was, I think I was 15. Yeah, so I was a freshman. At some point, I remember like waking up in the middle of the night and I have to go pee. And I would walk into the bathroom and turn on the light, and it was just like,
they'd scatter.
They would all scatter,
they'd scatter. Yeah.
And I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. And I was like, I can't go into the bathroom and go pee. And so I used to go into my kitchen, and I would grab a glass and I'd like a cup, and I'd fucking piss in the cup, and then I'd pour it down
pinch
the drain.
It halfway, pour it, finish the rest.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I was like, it was hard. I remember like there were sometimes like, because it hurt to stop peeing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I'd get to the end, I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do? I was like, well, okay, I gotta stop. I pour it, finish, and then when I'm finishing, there's like nothing left. I'm like, somehow it all went back in. But I remember like waking up the next day thinking like, oh, the cup's just in the sink. Like,
where's that glass?
just sitting there,
It's funny because I like that whole roach scattering. That's something that I grew up with, and it never bothered me. Like I would not be able to do that now. But as a kid, I was just so used to roaches. I mean, you turn the lights on in the kitchen, they scatter. You turn on the lights in the bathroom, they're scattering. And it was disgusting, but it was just kind of how it was.
As a kid, I remember thinking, like, even in, like, we moved to Chandler at some point, and we would have a roach every now and then. But it was different in Chandler because, like, I always thought that we were dirty. Like, that's why we have roaches. And it has nothing to do with that, I've realized now as an adult.
They would come up from our tubs in our drains.
Because our house in Chandler was clean. Like, my dad remarried, and we would, I mopped those floors, so it was weird, but something we like never talked about. So as a kid, you come up with your own ideas about what, why do we have roaches? Oh, it's because we're dirty, But
remember when I remember it was in my Oasis house in Tempe on Elliott.
Okay. Yep.
You were hanging out with Jesse because we were at that point where I was older, and now you're hanging out, but you're hanging out with Jesse more.
I barely remember hanging out with. I mean, I don't know, like, who called who.
Like, I don't know, but you were at my house when I got home, and I got home the same time police officers got to my house, and you guys were throwing oranges or something over the wall onto the McClintock or Elliott that was there, and they came, and I'm like, no one's, no, I just got home. No one's even home, like, no one's even home. It's not coming from our house. So I'm literally, because I pulled up the same time they were pulling up. I'm like, what's going on? Like,
so it was you, me, and Jesse at home. Like, your parents weren't home?
No, I think it was just you and Jesse, and there might have been one of Jesse's other friends or something.
Okay.
But I
remember hanging out with Jesse's other friends for a brief period of time. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you guys are throwing oranges from back there, and I pulled in, and I covered for you. I'm like, no, I'm the only one home. No one's even home, because I was getting home from football practice or something.
Yeah.
And I was probably a junior or senior at that time. And, probably a junior because I don't think you were in high school yet. So I was probably a junior.
Yeah.
And I go in, I'm coming in, the cops. I'm like, oh, no, I don't see, no, nobody's home. And they're like, okay, well, I go, it could have been coming from the neighbor's house. I'm not sure, but it wasn't us because I'm the only one here and I'm just now getting here. And then I come in, I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You guys are throwing oranges? And you're like, oh, I go, well, luckily I was able to get the cops out of here.
Did we know the cops were, I barely remember that. And I maybe I thought you were messing with us, No,
I think that you guys knew the cops were there because they were knocking on the door when I got there or something.
Like, we didn't answer?
Nobody answered. I got there. I go,
oh, dude, that is so, like, that's something I would do today if a cop,
you're not answering.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, if a cop just shows up, I'm going to answer. If I was doing something wrong, which obviously isn't what I would do today,
right?
I wouldn't answer. Like, I know, like, I don't have to answer. Like, sorry, buddy, But as a kid, I'd be like, dude, we got to answer the door. The cops are there. We got to we got to do whatever.
Luckily, it's probably Jess saying, no, just be quiet.
Jesse was scared. Jesse, I remember, dude, we would all do things like, I remember, where if we're going to hop a fence, we'd get like those nervous shits.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Jesse gets those today still before softball games or whatever. He still got to take a shit before.
That's what I'm saying. And we're like, or like we'd figure to hop a fence, and like I'm like straddling this fence, and like my leg is cramping up because I was like, oh god, like it's just freaking adrenaline. Right? Like I feel like that's how Jesse was. It must have been one of his friends was like, dude, don't answer. You know?
I wonder who it was though. It's probably like Steven or something. I can't remember. Oh, so we did a lot of stupid stuff as kids, and we did it fun. I think we did more fun things than stupid things. And yeah, we probably should have got in trouble for some of them. Probably could have done a lot of damage on a lot of stuff. But overall, I think we were good kids, right? Like compared to Sean or compared to other neighbor kids, we weren't that bad. Right? We just wanted to have fun. There's nothing wrong with that.
Maybe it was a difference between boys and girls. Like I've told Kim some of these stories, and she's like, "Dude, you're a bad kid." And I was like, "I really wasn't. I really wasn't." And maybe because I knew there was worse kids. It's just stuff that boys do, I feel like.
Right.
But I agree. I don't think that I can think of some of the worst things I did, and they weren't that bad. You know, it was just, could I have gotten in more trouble? Sure. But I would think that overall we were good kids for sure.
Yeah. But I think it was basically us bored, Arizona summers, trying to find something to do. Even as adults, when we worked together and we had all those days off together, we did nothing but we made that potato launcher. Remember that potato launcher we made? We made 2 of them. Or
that was dumb.
We make 2 or just 1 of them. That was awesome though.
No, dude,
We used to shoot those potato launchers from my backyard all the way to AJ Field. Remember how AJ football field over there?
I freaking forgot about that, man. One of the do you remember so we shot it and like it was one of our first shots. Like we just finished it, like we shot it into your wall and it like just freaking disintegrated the freaking
we knew it was potato. Powerful, but we're like, it's a potato, it's going against a hard brick wall, how far can it really go?
And then there's like a field like right on the other side of your house. We're like, well, let's shoot it at the field, and we shot it. And I just remember thinking like it just went.
Oh yeah, I felt like going farther than
it went over the field and like landed in like the high school parking lot or something that was over there. Was like, or that's what it looked like. We're like, oh no. Yeah.
Remember I had that desktop stereo. Like I don't know if you remember, it probably even had a little record player on top, and it had. Anyway, we shot a potato, and it made a hole this big in the front of it. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, we went right through it.
Dude, we shot your microwave. Like, wasn't there an old microwave or a TV or something? Or something with the screen.
Yeah, and it just shattered that shit. That thing was powerful.
Out of all of the dumb things we've done, I don't think any of that compares to the time we lit your doghouse on fire.
Oh, God. Dude, I still have nightmares about that. And that was all you.
That was me.
That was all you.
That was me.
Yeah. We would go, what do we do? We that night, before we even started drinking, you came over, and we had been burning stuff anyway, right? Was that the same night we burnt my kitchen table as well? Or was that a different night? Because we would have fires in the backyard quite often.
Yeah.
Because we would, I'd burn all my ex's yearbooks and shit, and anything that she left at my house.
That was that night where we brought out a bunch of stuff of like it was like a therapy night, right? Like it was I remember it was a yearbook. It's like, oh, maybe she'd want this. I feel really bad about it. I'm like, dude, toss it in.
Yeah.
And so we ended up burning. But like we started by going we
burnt a full mattress back there, remember?
I don't remember the mattress. I remember burning your toilet because remember how we shot
they shot the bottle rocket into it.
Right, but that was when it was in your house, right? It was
it was still installed in my house. Yeah,
dude. So we had these bottle rockets, and you're like, "What do we do with this?" And I remember standing in your hallway, and it just, it fires off.
Well, and that was like the 3rd time we did it. We did it a few times, and on that last one, all of a sudden you see water start dripping, and we're like,
dude, that's not how I remember. I remember standing in the hallway, and it goes in, and it goes, tink.
Oh, we heard it.
But it goes off, and then, but I remember standing, like, feeling it in the floor, and I was like, like
it might have went deeper than.
I was like, oh, dude, I felt that or something. And then we go back to playing Madden or Blitz, whatever, playing NFL Blitz. And then I don't know if it was you or I that walked down the hallway to finally go pee.
And it was all wet.
2 hours later, and it was soaked. We're like, what the hell is going on? I do remember. Dude, but with the doghouse, it started by, like, we walked down to the gas station at the corner and got gasoline.
Before that, though, before we even started, we went and bought like 5 Sparks. Remember those malt orange flavored liquor?
Yes.
We bought like 5 Sparks.
From that same gas station, though.
Each probably, right?
Yeah.
And we drove there, we got it. We're pounding them, and we had all 5 of those. And that's like that malt liquor, hard, we were pretty drunk. And plus it had like, it's kind of an energy drink as well, too.
That's what we wanted.
And we would, then we end up walking there, right? With our empty gas can. So we buy like a gallon of gas. And remember that lady didn't want to sell you, right?
Because we went twice for gas. We went twice for gas. And she's like, what are you guys doing? You're obviously drunk. It's the second time. And we're like, well, we're running a generator, you know.
And they're like, we're walking. We're not even driving. We walked here, you know. And she's like, okay, you know, like she really, but you know, she said this is the last time. She told you this was the last time when you went up there. Yeah, and then we're like, and we were like, we might have burned the table that night because I remember we had the middle part of the table and we put a bottle of Bud Light bottle with gas in it and dropped it in the center part of it, and it made like a torch. It was so awesome. And then like I think the whole night you're like, let's just burn the doghouse, and I'm like, no, because we can't burn the doghouse. And the whole time you're like, dude, let's just burn the doghouse because we were running out of shit to burn. And I'm like, by then
it's like 3 a.m, right, or something,
dude.
And
I
remember we were smart enough to prep for it, so I remember going and checking the hose and like the hose was there.
No, we did not prep.
I feel like I knew where the hose was.
The hose was not hooked up, and we had to go get it from the front.
The fact that it wasn't hooked up, but I feel like I knew where the hose was, and maybe we didn't, or we're just like, oh, it's okay, it's over there or something. But I remember, dude, this doghouse, right? Like you and I built it with like the base was a pallet.
Oh yeah,
right, and then it was all. I mean, the thing was held together by screws, you know. But it had shingles. It was legit.
Dude, it was probably 250 pounds or more, easy. You know.
Dude, we threw it over, like we built it so big in your garage, we couldn't get it through the gate. And so we threw it over your 6-foot fence. I remember struggled to get it up.
Oh yeah. And it just so solid. It just stayed. Yeah.
So we threw phone books into it.
Yeah.
Remember doing that? And then with gasoline. And then you're like, we got to stop. And then I just remember as it's burning, how just giant it got, and we just slowly started backing away from it.
We're backing up, and then we're like all the way up against the wall, and we're thinking, and like we're not even freaking out at this point still. We're like, this fucking fire is huge, and we're like, we probably should put it out, right? And then we're like, all of it. Were you getting the hose or was I getting the hose?
Was, dude. So I remember like your backyard. I was like, wow, this is so bright.
Right.
Like your backyard, everything you could see. I was like, it wasn't daylight, but it was just like, oh, wow, this is so bright. Yeah. And I was the one to go get the hose. I remember running over there and getting it. And dude, so now like it was so bright in the backyard. Now I freaking run around the house. Now it's pitch black over there. I can't see anything. I find the hose bib is right there. It's not connected. And I go to try to connect it, and I just realize I have the wrong end. Like it doesn't connect. But you had the hose over there too, like because you
I had the wrong end, right? Yeah.
And I remember like turning it on and just thinking I just have to hold it, and it's just like I'm getting sprayed everywhere. And then at some point, I remember like being so like, oh no, we're gonna burn this place down, right? And I was just like, this isn't working. There's nothing we can do. And I remember just like dropping it and like walking back over there, and you were chaotic. You're like, and I think you ran over and did it. Or
didn't I go over there and like no, I still don't think we were freaking out at that point. We didn't freak out until
I was scared when I was trying to do the hose.
I think you might have been scared, but I think we're still like, all right, we need to put this out. And then it wasn't until one of us heard, and I don't know if it was me or you when we were getting the hose. Oh my God. That guy's house is on fire. Oh. And then that's when I freaked out because I'm thinking, oh, fuck, neighbors, you know, people are out looking at this huge, like the flames had to have been higher than my house, right? They was so tall. So
Dude, they thought my house was so bright in your backyard.
Yeah. And that's when I was freaking out because then we started hearing the fire trucks, you know, and I'm like, oh, fuck, you know, and I'm like, Chris, you're answering the door because it's your fucking idea.
I remember going out there.
You handled it well.
Dude, I remember being, so, you know, we're all like hopped up on Sparks, you know, energy drinks, which is funny. It's what I still do, you know?
Yeah.
But it was, I remember going out there and like, just like doing my best to be like, no, sir. It's you know, big ass fire truck, like lights are on. I can see that people are in like robes on the sidewalk, you know, in this cul-de-sac where you lived. And I'm just like, no, sir, listen, it was just a bonfire. It got a little out of control. It's out of control. No, listen, it's not out of control. It's down now.
It's out.
It's out. Yeah, it's good. And I just did not want them to go back there and look to see what we did.
Yeah.
Which, dude, go ahead.
And what I did, remember, like this thing, we had it out, right? But it's smoldering and smoking. And I remember rolling that thing out of my fire so that if they were to look over the fence, they couldn't see it. I rolled it out of the way and burning my hands, and I'm all black with soot and shit.
I remember, yeah. Is there anything illegal about doing that?
I mean, in AGA, probably not. Come on. You know, I don't know. I don't know how big of a fire you're allowed to. I mean, it was contained. It didn't catch anything on fire. It was just way too big and tall. That's all.
It was so hot, man. It was so hot, dude, and so bright.
We were a good 10 feet away from the fire itself, and we were still burning. And that's why we're thinking, oh man, this thing's fucking big. We got to get out of it. We got to put it out. And even at that point, I was not stressed yet. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go with the hose. Let's get it out, you know. And then until the neighbors came out. Yep.
Nice.
Dude, but we had fun back then. We used to set shit on fire in my backyard. We used to shoot each other with paintball guns. We used to, we were jackasses before the Jackass show, by far, right? I mean, because YouTube wasn't, I mean, things weren't around. Jackass was not alive when we were doing that stuff.
Agreed.
Shooting each other with paintballs, hitting each other in the nuts with, remember, we get the golf driver, and we'd get those wiffle balls, and we'd stand literally
in front.
3-4 feet in front of you. And we'd have these welts all over our body with the wiffle balls.
That was your payment for losing a game.
Yep.
Blitz or something.
We play blitz. You lose, you get shot with the paintball. Or remember, you shot me in the paintball right in the middle of my hand, and it totally just made a big old C split on my hand.
I don't feel bad about that at all. Like that's almost in my mind. That's like a moment where like I succeeded. I feel like.
Oh yeah. Because I hit you several times, and that's why I gave you the last ball, because
it was the last one. Yeah.
You haven't hit me all day. I'm not worried. Here, you get the last shot. Fucking dead. Like when I was hitting you, I was grazing your hand or hitting here, but to hit dead center of my palm.
You had a flap, right? It was a flap.
Yeah, dude, it was awful. You know, working it at, Motorola at the time or whatever, having to wear those gloves all day with that flap of skin in my hand. Oh, it was brutal.
I don't.
It was black. It was awful. It got infected. It was so shit. I couldn't whack it for 4 weeks, man. It was brutal.
I don't like, we're so dumb. Like those things, it like fun's over after that, right? Like dude. We can't, you couldn't hold the controller.
No.
Like it was
and like how far? We were probably 10 feet away. It was probably a 10-foot shot or something like that. You think it was that much?
Yeah, dude, it was about like you were hiding behind.
Yeah, I put my hand just outside the wall.
Yeah, so all I could hit was your hand. And it just came in perfectly. Okay. And dude, for that I had to hit like the perfect softest spot of your hand. It burst. That was great.
It was the perfect shot you've ever.
Dude, I will never forget that. I will die knowing that I did that, and I'm okay with it. I'll be honest with you. I'm sorry, but I mean, actually, I'm not. It was fun, but.
Yeah,
dude, nothing. I don't think like in that same summer I felt like, or dude, actually it wasn't even summer. We were working. We were adults.
Day,
we were working.
It was a regular day. Yeah,
you had that spider paintball gun, and maybe it was, dude. It had to have been tied to a game of Blitz. Whoever lost had to shoot themselves in the nuts.
God, and with the air.
Yeah. So you like gather up a nut. You're wearing basketball shorts.
Yeah.
And you just stick the spider paintball rifle, up to it, and then and it's just air. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom, it goes off.
Oh God, dude, the pain was so ridiculous. Dude, that was the stupidest thing. One of the stupidest things I've ever did in my life was that right there.
I had no idea that would happen. I remember like there was a moment of like I was laughing, and then like I thought you were gonna black out. Like there was a moment where you were just like, oh, like I
dude,
can't.
And it wasn't. I think that what I did wrong was I think I touched like I made contact with my ball.
This is the one thing that we did wrong. Yeah,
I mean, like
no, it was up against it.
Yeah, if I was 2 inches away from it and just shot it, it would have been probably not as bad. But I had barrel to ball and pulled that trigger. Oh my God, I didn't think for a second it would hurt that bad, and I was out. I think I threw up. Did I throw up?
I don't,
because I remember. Well,
I don't remember.
It was the worst. It was the worst. Oh, that was so stupid.
I just remember you were gonna black out. Like that's. And then I remember feeling bad, and then like there was just a brief moment. It was probably 30 seconds of like, oh shit, like is it mush now? Is your your nut still existing? Because like the reaction was, I did not expect this reaction.
Right. Oh yeah. Dude, remember we used to flick, pow, pow, just flick each other, just boom. Oh, you flick so hard compared to me. I think you flick way harder than I flicked.
don't. It's so funny because you would hide that in a set. Like you would hide the
pain. Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I wouldn't let you know that you're winning, but yeah, your flicks hurt so fucking bad that I was just...
I feel like my nipples would bleed.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
Like just chapped is what it felt like. Just irritated. I stopped doing that when you broke your hand.
When my ligament broke from flicking Tessa, our angel. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, shit. It was the worst thing in the world. I'd bend my hand and my tendon would go to the left every time I opened and closed it. It was awful.
Dude, so how long did you live with a torn tendon? Or like, was it torn or actually detached?
It was completely, well, I don't know what the difference is. Like there was no ligaments holding this tendon over my knuckle anymore. So every time I'd close my hand, this tendon would go right in between my knuckles.
But your hand still worked?
Yeah, I could do it. But because one side of the ligaments, but these ligaments were gone. So it was ligaments that I tore, not tendons.
So like your grip just wasn't as strong there or something, right? Is it?
I don't remember. I don't remember even really it affecting my strength, and I don't even remember that pain being. It hurt a little bit, but it didn't hurt. You know what I mean? Like it just felt off. But yeah, it was just. But I mean, I got it. I went to the doctor the next day, I think, and then a week later they scheduled an appointment, or maybe not even that long.
And you had surgery for that, right?
Yeah. It was good times. Good times.
Yeah. All right, man, let's call it.
All right.
It's fun reliving.
Yes. All right, brother.
We'll do it again.
Sounds
I'll talk
good.
to you later, brother.
Later, bro.